Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review movies and television shows. Today I want to talk about The Killer. No, not the David Fincher movie that came out last year. I mean John Woo's 2024 The Killer. It's a fantasy action film about an assassin named Z. After failing a mission, she finds herself protecting a young woman from dangerous killers and butting heads with a French policeman named Say. It's based on a film John Woo wrote and directed back in 1989 of the same name. However, this script was written by Brian Helgeland, Josh Campbell, and Matt Stukin. John Woo directed the film, which stars Nathalie Emmanuel as Z, Omar Sy as Say, and Sam Worthington as Z's boss, Finn. To start off, the story is a highly exciting but cliché affair. It's filled with death, drama, cheesy one-liners, and a ton of action that will blow your mind. It's a western set in the modern day with super obvious twists and turns that always turn things up to 11. The characters are stoic action heroes, greedy criminals, and corrupt cops. There's also a few sidekicks and a MacGuffin to save. The story moves at a fast pace and does its best to keep your interest through a steady stream of action and dramatic moments. On the downside, it's a little trope heavy and I couldn't help but roll my eyes at some of them. Like, I love a good old church fight as much as anyone, but did we really need pigeons flying through every single shot? Or how about the blade scene in the nightclub where she literally pulls out a samurai sword? The story also doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The villains constantly keep people alive that they shouldn't. Things always work out in the most dramatic, cheesy way possible, and none of the character motivations are well explored. They also overused flashbacks and cutaways. They tenderize that horse so badly you can use the meat for hamburgers. The cast does a great job with what they're given, but aren't given much beyond trope work. Nathalie Emmanuel and Omar Sy play two stoic anti-hero type characters and both do a wonderful job of their action poses and delivering their lines with a straight face. They also have decent chemistry together. The people around them do a good job of setting up the atmosphere and playing generic stereotypes. There's corrupt cops, vile criminals, and a few innocent bystanders. The cast in general does what's expected of them, which is actually the problem. There is no room for anyone to stand out or build a real character. The film constantly cuts away from the actors while they're talking or going through big emotions to focus on artistic shots. They also distract from their performances with cutaways and flashbacks. They really minimize the amount of focus on the performances. The visual journey is a big standout of the film. It's clean, filled with a ton of fantastic sets and costume work, and there's action every 10 minutes or so to keep your interest. The film looks like a modern western with a classy, flavorful vibe. They did a good job of making everything look dramatic too. The visual journey is also aesthetically minded, captures the actors' poses in great detail, and uses a lot of contrast to create a moody atmosphere. The action comes in often, really drives home the impact of each gunshot and strike, and includes a ton of mind-blowing stunt work. They went to the next level with gunfights, car chases, and even a few big crashes. I absolutely loved the back-to-back moments where Z and Say worked together during the fights. It brought me right back to playing Army of Two with my brother as a kid. John Woo also has a tendency to make his action sequences appear fantastical, and this movie is no exception. Every awesome-looking action moment that could happen does. Behind it all is a soundtrack with more variety than a buffet. There are Western guitar tracks with a Spanish influence, jazz tunes, rap, techno, and folk songs. The music comes in to build the atmosphere and assist the emotional journey and does a fantastic job. It makes a cinematic moment out of every single story beat and does a great job of adding flavor into the mix. One of my favorites was the folk song Jen sings right before Z starts killing people at the club. The softness and sweetness of it contrasts perfectly with the violence that ensues just seconds later. Personally, I found the film to be a lot of fun, as long as you didn't think about the story too hard. The cast does a decent job of their roles, and the visuals and soundtrack are perfect. I found myself excited the entire time and cheering out loud during some of the action sequences. It does feel a little bit long at times with all the flashbacks and cutaways, but overall it's a cheesy and fun action film that will entertain you for a couple of hours. As for a rating, I'd give The Killer a 7 out of 10. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye-bye!